Hello Lorenzonites, today we have episode 69 of KSP to Mars, where we attempt to go to Mars. And if you look at the screen, which I think you are, you'll recognize this Mars lander, and if you are a regular viewer of the show and saw the last episode, you will now be scratching your head, because we saw Rayrick explode against the surface of Mars. And we are currently... Are we plunging towards? Yes, we are currently plunging towards Mars. What is going on? Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we live in an alternate reality. Rayrick crashed the first time due to a mountain, so we will be giving him this opportunity to change his trajectory and instead attempt a landing in this crater. Now, if I recall correctly, we did make a pass through the atmosphere, so we will not in fact be braking in one go. We're going to increase our periapsis ever so slightly so that we can have a little bit more control, and to that end we shall enable 2 of the 4 maneuvering engines so that we may actually steer the ship. Well, we have maneuvering thrusters here to rotate it, and what I want to try is to land in this crater. Now, there's no easy way to set a target, but we have an ascending node somewhere here. So if we raise our periapsis just a little bit, then here we can probably alter our trajectory to coincide with this crater, and then put our periapsis like a little bit before there, so that we may slow down, over that. So let's burn the engines to raise the periapsis just a little bit. Not sure that's actually working. Wait, are they maybe being blocked by the heat shield thing? Yes, they are. Damn it. That, my friends, presents a problem. Because now we can only use RCS maneuvering thrusters. That should probably work. Is it? Yes, the RCS thrusters are doing their job. But only very, very slowly, and we're almost out of monopropellant. So that is not the best thing ever. Oh dear, Rayrick may in fact be unsavable. Damn it, can we deflate this? We cannot deflate it, but we can only ditch it, and then we're set for an entry without a heat shield. Obviously not ideal either. Well, just for completion's sake, I am going to activate all maneuvering thrusters. And well, it does say there's thrust happening, but there's nothing happening to the speed. It's just fuel being shot against the... Well, is it really? Yes, it is really. It's just fuel being shot against the heat shield. It's realistic, I suppose, but it's a pain nonetheless. Actually, the heat shield should probably be damaged by this, but it is not. Alright then. We are not quite giving up. Although, I struggle to imagine what we can actually do to make things better and less horrible. First things first is we have to make it through the atmosphere. Of course we can make the same approach to the planet with the knowledge that we have to slow down for a landing at about 12 kilometers. That could cause us to, well, fire our engines sooner. But that would probably expend all of the fuel in the tanks. Damn it. Well, we are going to go for the approach, the pass through the atmosphere at least, and then hopefully on the other side of that we might be able to... Oh, am I kidding? That's probably not going to work. How much delta V would I need to change the trajectory like that? More than we currently have, I think. Well, because currently we have like 0. Right. No, I need the maneuver node to be here. And then... Or do I? Life is hard without target markers. Yeah, we need something like this. That's like a kilometer per second and a half. Okay, so that divert to the crater thing is not going to work out. So all we can attempt for Rayrick is a pass through the atmosphere, just like before. and then a more propulsive landing. Problem with that is that the ground there is so high that the parachutes don't do squat, they don't even partially deploy, so it's going to be a full propulsive landing, and that probably means you won't be able to get back off the surface, but still that's better than smacking against the ground at 2 kilometers per second, but we still very well might not make it. That's a distinct possibility. Another thing we could do is ditch the heat shield and try a non-shielded aero braking entry, which, well, is probably a recipe for disaster. Probably is a recipe for disaster, but you never know. Sometimes things work out. But first we're going to try just doing it again. And, well, who knows, maybe it was just a crater ridge and we can make something happen with the RCS. Who knows? Could happen. Another reason for making the video is to inform you that this coming week will almost certainly definitely have no videos whatsoever. Monday I start my new job. Also on Monday, possibly Tuesday, possibly Wednesday, I get my new apartment. And that is a fairly inconvenient overlap because I currently am staying about 250 kilometers away from my new job and apartment. So to solve this, I borrowed a camper van and will in fact be living in that for the few days that are the mismatch between my job and my house. That is very incompatible with a powerful gaming rig that makes YouTube videos. So that will only resume once I properly settle into my new place and get the internet and stuff working there. It will almost certainly not be this week. I am hoping for next weekend, but, well, these things are almost never the way you plan them, so we'll see how that goes. I will probably have internet access through a small laptop I can bring along, and so I will be able to respond to comments and queries and, well, stuff like that, but new videos, probably not. Probably not. 1 or 2 weeks of video outage. Same goes for the live streams, of course. Do check them out on Twitch TV. Their link is in the description, and the archived streams are of course available there, also on the YouTube channel, by the way. But as soon as I settle in and have a little bit more regularity in my life, I will probably, most likely, definitely do regular streams, because I like that. But for now, we are attempting to land on Duna, the crazy planet. What I can do is go at apoapsis and just attempt to burn retrograde as much as possible. It will make the re-entry, it will make the entry a lot steeper. Well, technically it is a re-entry now because we have been in the atmosphere. Okay, great. It will make the re-entry a lot steeper, but it will change the position. And that's all we need, really. Alternatively, I could go here and burn as radial as possible to not very much affect the altitude of re-entry, but to change the actual place. Although that requires sizable amounts of delta V for very, very small deviations, so maybe not, maybe not. Or I could burn a retrograde here. That would probably change the direction more drastically. Yeah, that would make a much bigger impact because the actual altitudes are then changing. However, I'm afraid to make it a direct impact trajectory because that is, well, fairly dangerous. Maybe I can do something with a normal nudge. Or I could burn ever so slightly prograde at apoapsis, just get rid of this entry at altogether. Now that would take the least amount of delta V. Let's do that. And then, because delta V is something we absolutely don't have, so that's because we can't use the thrusters. So we're going to do this with RCS. We have 46 units of RCS fuel remaining. And let us expend some of that. Oh, we have to go forwards. That's of course not the proper way to expend it, but we can possibly do it that in time warp. We have 40 units remaining, and if we manage to push this out to, let's say, 100 kilometers, that means we are definitely not going in. Or we can do 70. That is high. We have 20. We've burned half our reserves. And that means that maybe if we burn the rest, like over here, breaking, that will still do it in the same spot. We're basically locked into this spot. What I'm hoping for is that the pass here will like drop the trajectory enough so that we're actually going to land like completely on the other side of the planet. Oh, and I did actually just commit to a quick save, so the alternate reality we started from today is in fact now gone. Because that was nothing but a errant quick save. Anyway, here we are going in once more. We have changed the future by altering the past with information from that future. We're now coming in for 70 kilometers. I think that will no way that will be enough to enter. And if we do end up entering, it will be past this mountain range, hopefully. And that's as good a fighting chance as we can give alternate reality. Rayrick. There's not much else we can do really. So we're at 4 times time acceleration. This will be a little bit tedious, because of course we are going through the atmosphere, so that means no faster time acceleration, but we are going very high through the atmosphere, so that means it will take a long time to slow down, no actual friction. See, we are going through the atmosphere times 4 speed, but our apoapsis is barely changing, so that's because the atmosphere is so thin here. We're going down to 71 kilometers. Look, we are decelerating at 0.00789 10 kilonewtons. That is mounting a little bit, but that is like actual ion thruster levels. Not the buffed up, increased, super efficient, awesome Kerbal ion thrusters. That is no real world ion thrusters. They deliver. No, they're still overpowered, because 0.01 kilonewtons is still a newton, and the actual ion thrusters, they do millinewtons. Alright. Anyway, we have fallen, and we are now at 26 newtons, 30 newtons. That's actually a force that you could feel. And that probably means that now the trajectory is, well, it's not dropping appreciably, but it is dropping. We might be in for several passes, which is fine because we don't want to land over this mountain range. If it does take several passes, that means that the planet is also rotating under us. You can even observe that happening actually. And that means we are going to land in a completely different area. And that could of course be an even higher area, but it could also be a much friendlier place to land. And here we are finally getting some actual macroscopic forces. 3 kilonewtons now on the ship. The staging is set up correctly. The heat shield will shed. The engines will fire. And that will properly load in the landing sequence. And of course first we have the parachutes, which we will engage as soon as we are in a committed descent trajectory. For now we are almost at periapsis. That is actually perceivably shrinking now by a whole kilometer. This has shrunk by 200 kilometers. We will certainly require more passes, but we will also certainly land in a completely different spot than in that other reality. And that's all we were asking for after all. What I'm really hoping for is that in 1 or 2 passes, we will bump out of the atmosphere again and land here on the day side, like here in this crater. Wow, if I look at this, I'm not happy. There's lots of mountains. Damn. They're not as high as the ice cap mountains probably, but still fairly sizable. So at 70 kilometers we are encountering about 10 kilonewtons of drag. That is a very low amount. Very low amount indeed. We have shaved about 600 kilometers from our periapsis, so I'm estimating 1 or 2 more passes before interestingly scary things start to happen. Wow. Wow, what the hell is this? This is a great indentation. Too bad it's dark here. Look at that shape of the planet. We want to land right there. Can we like shoot a flag at that? Oh my god. Yeah, it's too dark to see, unfortunately. This looks like a good place to land. It really does. Unfortunately, we can't do so. Now it's just waiting until we are actually out of the atmosphere again, which stretches to into an infuriatingly high 200 kilometers. Do we have lights on the vessel? No. The problem here is that I never put lights on my spaceships, and if we do end up going in on the dark side, lights are very, very nice to have. I'm considering whether to cut the video to the next pass because nothing interesting is going to happen, that's for sure. And yes, I am going to. So, because this is just a dark screen you're looking at, that's not very nice. So, blink your eyes 1, 2, 3, and then you'll be back for another pass through Mars's scary atmosphere. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. Wow, one more round around the planet, and look at that. This is where we landed the first time, so that's completely changed. The bad news is that it still looks very mountainy. This gulch here is probably the indentation we saw on the previous pass, so this is a nice place to aim for in future landings. Problem is that it's surrounded by mountains, so that's fairly scary. Anyway, if we go in on this time around, I think we'd still be screwed, but we just have to go and find out. There's not really anything we can do about it. Anyway, we have 22 units of monopropellant. I will throw in a quick save, because if things go horrendously wrong, we can attempt a full powered descent, but that will be without the heat shield then, so that will present its own problems. But we shall not give up so easily. Rayrick is apparently a Time Lord that can reincarnate. Oh shit, I just pressed spacebar, but I think nothing happened. Wow, that would have been embarrassing. Anyway, back into the atmosphere. And maybe I woke you from cryo sleep too soon. I could have skipped over some of this as well, because, well, it's the same as before, except it will take longer this time. Because we're going slower, because our orbit is lower. Right, is there a joke I can tell? Is there some funny news? I can talk some more about Copenhagen suborbitals, those guys in Denmark. I'm afraid to tell that I'm kind of losing confidence in them. Now, I don't keep up to date with all their internal politics, but the two founding father types, so to speak, like Peter Madsen and Christian von Bengtson, they have left. Christian left a few weeks or months ago to work on the Europa feasibility study thing, which, if you ask me, is more outlandish than building a homemade rocket. I mean, it's awesome. It's nice to explore these possibilities, but, you know, you gotta be realistic. You're not going to build a rocket to Europa from a shed. That's not going to happen. And now Peter Madsen, the one that actually had the voice of sanity in my eyes, and drove the apparent recklessness sometimes that did make things happen, has now left, and apparently the organization is in turmoil and there's internal strife and struggle, and I wonder if they will ever get to launching their manned rocket. And it was always Peter Madsen that was going to ride it, so if they do, who is going to go in it? I wonder. Personally, I've lost faith for now. Maybe I will be proven wrong. I hope I will be proven wrong and will be dazzled by their amazing rocket launches. I still think it's cool and awesome and unprecedented what they're doing. It just seems that the founders are leaving the ship, and that can be just due to politics, in which case the rocket will probably fly. I mean, then that wouldn't change anything. Or their vision is turning sour and it's not working out, and that's why they're leaving, and then, well, it probably won't fly. And I have no way to tell which is which, so I like them, I like their blog posts. It's sad to see them go. I hope they will do some more awesome stuff. They probably will. Oh look, we're right over that crazy gulch. And I wonder to see what happens with Copenhagen suborbitals. Check it out on their website. It's www.copsub, and that's copsub.com. And, well, there they post their blog updates and the like. For now, let's refocus our attention here on Mars. We are at 78 kilometers, 79 actually, almost coming up on 78, experiencing a modest 4 kilonewtons of drag on the heat shield, trying to do course corrections with the time acceleration on, which is incredibly scary. And let's have a look at the map view here. We have the apoapsis is dropping below 1,000 kilometers. The periapsis is still at 65. Now it's easy to say, well, 65, that won't lead to an entry because we did that before, but we are going slower this time. Not orders of magnitude slower, but a bit slower, and these things can snowball rather quickly. So if we spend long enough at this admittedly low amount of drag, we will, of course, descend. The periapsis has now reduced to 64 kilometers, which would increase the drag noticeably, and our periapsis is dropping rather fast. This is good-ish. I'm hoping we can skirt our periapsis and have a new periapsis like here on the night side somewhere, or it would be very, very ironic that it would mean us coming down over this mountain massif again and actually landing in the exact same spot. And that would then most probably be a crash, not a landing. So I'm not sure what to hope for. I think a landing here is optimistic. This is like the plane, and well, maybe that will be nice. But here our apoapsis is currently over that gulch, and our periapsis we are just almost coming up on that. I think we're going in this go around, but we will be doing so very, very gently, which is probably a good thing. A bad thing is that we will probably also be doing it in the dead of night, and I have absolutely no way of seeing what the terrain here looks like. Yeah, we're definitely going in. We are definitely going in. We are currently experiencing 20 kilonewtons on the heat shield. Our periapsis has just disappeared, and we shall be raining to the surface this way. I'm going to quick save now, before the parachutes are deployed, because if you quick load something in atmosphere which had parachutes deployed, they will no longer be deployed. We learned this on the live stream the other day. So I'm going to deploy the parachutes now, and if it turns out to be futile, I can just ditch everything here and fire all the thrusters and hope to slow down that way. We're still at 56 kilometers of altitude. We're experiencing 25 kilonewtons of drag, and well, I have absolutely no way to tell what the ground altitude is here. Zero, none, zip, absolutely nothing. I do wonder at what speed I can confidently ditch the heat shield. And it's very dark, my apologies for that. There's not a lot to be seen. Hopefully the atmosphere will lighten things up a little bit. And I shall do my utmost to not forget to make lights on the spaceships in the future. We can of course go to the internal view, but that will only show the radar altitude here from 3 kilometers up. That gives you just mere seconds of warning. This here is the same reading as we get on the map view, which I have been erroneously using as a radar altimeter, which, well, you can't really do. We are again falling at an alarming rate, but also that gives us lots of drag. Let's see if we can angle this down a little bit and get a little bit of... Wow. Right, so that's 23 kilometers. That's the highest ever at night. 23 kilometers of mountain altitude. Let's attempt our save. Third alternate reality, and if this in fact also crashes, then we shall just decide that it is futile. Okay, parachutes out, ditching the heat shields, rockets engage, and we shall now attempt to, using rocket power, keep our vertical speed low while we actually brake. And ground level is, remember, it is at 23 kilometers. So we are required to remove 3.3 kilometers per second. I don't think we have that in this stage. Don't think we do. Don't think we do. Also, it's apparently quite difficult to stabilize this thing. Anyway, here we are going for a propulsive landing. At least that gives us some lights to look at. If we can now land, that will still be a historic moment, and we just probably won't be able to get back up to space. Which is of course a problem in and of its own. And in a few seconds we are going to, or maybe a minute or two, we're going to have to make a decision. Because the landing legs are attached to these outer pylons, as are the parachutes. We've already established the parachutes will be useless. I can ditch these for a lower weight, but that would mean landing on the engine, which is of course always a risky proposition, especially with a tall rocket like this. I can also leave them attached. That would give us a fair amount of boost on this center column, but that would also, of course, would also cause more problems. Also, I'm slowing down here, not taking any advantage of the atmospheric drag that we are going to in fact encounter. So maybe that's not the smartest. There's our heat shield. Martian debris, nice. Then again, if we slow down too much, can we maybe deploy this at a higher altitude, 5,000? Can we set this to be higher than 5,000? Don't think so. Anyway, we're falling now at several hundreds of meters per second. So, falling at several hundreds of meters per second. We probably need to light our engines to fix that a little bit. I don't think we're going to make it. This would work fine as an ascent stage, but not so fine as a descent stage. So we're counting on letting the atmosphere do most of this landing. Maybe it still will help us a bit, but probably not a lot. It's half a kilonewton per part, sort of. So that's even providing a lot less lift than the. It's providing a lot less lift than the heat shield would have. Anyway, our speed is getting under control. That is at least fortunate. Oh, the maneuvering thrusters will run out at different moments, which is unfortunate. We have about 1 kilometer per second to go and a full fuel tank of the center engine. I'm going to deploy the landing legs. I don't think we will in fact make it. Oh, and we need to go outside the ship to fire up the nuke reactor, so we don't even have an escape stage. Alright then. We are going at 1 kilometer per second. Oh, we have almost no oxidizer remaining. We have half a tank left. We're actually going up. That was not very efficient. And we have lost control of the ship due to the aerodynamic forces. That is most certainly a problem. Yeah, we had required the heat shield for this, and of course the parachutes, because now our ship is pointing in the wrong direction. Let's see if we can utilize RCS to fix that, sort of. But this is a futile effort, really, because we still need more than 1 kilometer per second of braking speed, and that's not going to come out of this tank. And we can't very well do an EVA that will fire up the nuclear reactor to escape. So yeah, we're gone. This would have been fine. This would have put us on an ascent trajectory, would have put us in space where the nuclear reactor could finish the job. But here, not so much. We needed at least some deceleration by the atmosphere. We're now coming in at 800 meters per second. And that's decidedly too much. Let's see what happens if we ditch this. I mean, we're going to crash anyway. So if we ditch that... Hey! Oh, it's on, but it's not actually providing any thrust because the reactor is offline. Right. So that looks nice, but doesn't do anything. Right, we are going to go on EVA and see if we can get up and prolong our life just a little bit. Rayrick to the rescue. I don't think these thruster packs have the delta V to get rid of any of this. But hey, if he can, he might slow down in the atmosphere just enough. He is being radiated tremendously, and here's the ground. And the spaceship was already in it. So, alternate reality or no alternate reality, this is not in fact working out. Rayrick is a goner, already was a goner, always will be a goner. So will I, for the next week or two at least, and then we shall look at designing a a better lander or a better guidance and targeting system. Because if we had the interplanetary stage on this still, or some kind of thruster that could have maneuvered it into a better landing zone, then things probably would have turned out fine. We just need a canyon where the ground is not at 23 kilometers up. If we have 23 extra kilometers combined with the extra air pressure there, things will be fine. It's just like the real Mars, you have to take real good care in where you land. So that is what we learned today. Reflect on that for 1 or 2 weeks to come, and I'll see you when I'm set up in my new house, and then I'll show you that as well. Today, as always, thanks for watching. Check out the Twitch and the Tumblr, and subscribe if you haven't already, and then you'll be notified when things go awesome. I'm just noticing, is there a lake here on the Space Center, or is it just a glitch? Either way, doesn't matter. See you around. Goodbye.